Hello? Oh, I forgot to turn off input monitoring on OBS. Hold on a second. Well, that was the music video for The King in Yellow. I'm glad it's finally out, the video. It took a while. I don't think I'll be streaming for very long. You know, I wrote that song. I kind of wanted to, for the record, do a song in the time signature of 3/4. And I guess this was my attempt at it. I guess one of the defining features of the song is that the snare is always on beat 3. But I recorded the song so long ago that I kind of forgot how to play some of the parts. I won't lie. I do think I'm quite proud of the guitar solos in it though. Both of them. They're not exactly the most technical. Like I'm sure there are other guitar players who could kind of play that easily. But I just like that the solos kind of sound like me, I guess. Sound like something that has my compositional fingerprint, so to speak. I'm gonna grab my guitar here for a bit. Maybe play some of these parts. So the tonal center of this song is kind of E, but it's not really squarely in a particular scale that's based on E. Yeah, I think there are a few scales that are based on E that the song kind of cycles through. I think I'm going to be playing with no distortion for the most part today. Just I didn't feel like setting up the amp sim with OBS today. That's how the opening goes. I was trying to find a way to make it feel like the duration of each of the notes felt appropriate for a 2-bar loop, which is challenging because the song is in 3, right? So it kind of, I just have to have enough material for either 6 beats or 12 beats, and I think this is what I ended up landing on. One, two. I can't even count and play it at the same time. I'll try. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, something like that. So that's 12 beats of material landing on the last note and letting it ring out. Same thing for the second repetition of the phrase. Of course, the other guitar in that intro, there's two, is playing this little, the microphone's in the way. I'm wondering if I should just, I don't know what to do about this. It's fine. I can't move it off screen. This is the way it has to be. Anyways, in that intro, it cycles from open E and octave E, and this thing is treated like one chord, and then it goes to an E power chord, and it alternates between those two, kind of around the same timing as the lead guitar plays this phrase. So under this, the rhythm guitar is just playing this octave, power chord, octave, power chord. And then when it gets to the last repetition of the lead line, before we enter the verse, we hit this F power chord, which includes the octave. And then the guitar actually drops out during the verse. I've never tried having the guitar kind of do that in the arrangement, so I think that was kind of a success, because it turned out fine, I think. I wonder what else I have to say about the song. I wonder if I can even play all the parts from it. It's been a long time since I went into the studio and recorded that song, so a lot of the parts have forgotten themselves upon me. That's the bass line for the verse. There are actually two versions of the bass phrase. There's like an A part and a B part, and they're very similar, but the tails, like the last three notes of the whole idea, is different. So it goes as opposed to I guess the difference is the first pass through, the bass goes to, I guess, 9th fret on the A string, 10th fret on the E string. Wait, am I getting that right? Yeah. 9 on the A, 10 on the E, 9, slide down to 7 on the A string, and then 9 on the E string. But then the second time around, after going 9, 10, or on the A string, 10 on the E, it goes all the way down to 7, 9, 7 on the E string, as opposed to yeah. I don't have my bass with me at the moment, so I guess I'll have to settle for demoing it on the guitar. So yeah. I wish I did have the bass though to demonstrate the kind of the right hand technique that I'm going with on every other cycle of the verse bass line, because it is kind of a slap bass thing where I guess I'm striking the I'm gonna see if I can demo this. I really should probably move this somewhere, or maybe I'll just center it. I'll just move the mic to a place where it looks, I guess, inoffensive on the screen. Not that it doesn't. But then you can't see the guitar. Well, anyways, on the bass guitar, what I was doing on the verse was hitting it with my thumb, hitting the string with my thumb, and then striking it with my palm, and then muting the string with my left hand in quick succession to kind of get like a 3+3+2 feel on the slap part. Oh wait, no, sorry, it's thumb strikes, left hand mutes, and then palm strikes. That's kind of how I was getting that sound during the verse. This feels so odd. Yeah. I can't play without a pick. But yeah. I get this weird feeling that I'm not actually live. Very odd. Oddly unsettling. I'm pretty happy with the riffs I wrote. Especially on the rhythm parts during the solo sections. Like during the first solo, you kind of have this idea going on in the rhythm guitar. We've got an E power chord, and then we slide up to B power chord, A, G, And then a pull off from 3 to 2 to 0. And then we get some major thirds on F sharp, or I guess rooted on F sharp, G and A. During the second cycle of the riff under the solo. Yeah, pretty happy with that. It's definitely an idea that I've taken from my favorite bands, my favorite guitar players. Kind of use thirds and such in their riffs as kind of substitutes for power chords that sound a little bit they have slightly more flair and slightly less substance, I guess, as compared to regular old power chords. Nice to include every song often. I like the solo, but I can't exactly play it anymore. I'm not in shape anymore. I can't remember much about how I actually wrote the solo. Because I wrote the song a long time ago, it feels like at this point. All I do remember is kind of struggling, because I know I wanted to have some arpeggios in the solo, but I didn't know how I was going to fit two arpeggios in the length of 2 bars in a way that sounds natural, because the song is in 3, right? So I kind of had to find a combination of chord tones that worked. And I actually decided that instead of just having like a regular I guess a regular B minor arpeggio in the song, I would add the 7th, or at least I decided to make it a B minor 7 chord. So this is in there. And that gave me just enough leeway to kind of make a phrase. To actually route the thing correctly and have just the right amount of notes. I guess we're also splashing this note in there, which isn't in the chord. And that's all over E power chords for the most part. So I guess it's a B over E if you want to think about it that way. But I've never really been much of a theory guy. Or at least I only know as much theory as I know, I suppose. Similar idea on the next arpeggio in the solo. So here's A major, I suppose. And this is all over E. Sorry. That whole riff. I think both the B and A chords kind of make sense over that riff. They just sound Not correct necessarily, but appropriate, I guess. Yeah. I'm particularly proud of the whole triplet run that happens at the end of the solo. A few grace notes filled in there make it feel like it's not one continuous torrent of notes, I guess. It has a little bit more variation than something that's just like something like that, for example. I forget. I only practiced it enough to be able to record it, but not to actually remember it. I think I actually need to review most of the material if I want to play it again. If I have any hopes of playing it live. Yeah, I like that solo. I like the other one too. It's one of the first, I think, instances where I tried to record using a wah pedal and tried to make it not sound like a redundant wah pedal solo. As can often be the case. I wanted to be in a different scale for at least the start of the second solo as compared to the first. So this is kind of the land that we're in. I think if I'm correct about my own writing or not, the first solo is kind of just in regular E natural minor. Actually, no. We have C sharp in it. That puts us in E Dorian, I think. Yeah, because the intro is in Dorian as well, and I did take that last phrase in the solo from the intro. I remember that. So it's kind of like E natural minor with a splash of Dorian, I think, is what our homeland is kind of for the first solo. Until it gets to this part where there is a bit of chromaticism until we get to the arpeggios. Yeah. But the second solo kind of starts here. We have this weird augmented second. I like it. It sounds... I don't want to say correct, but maybe appropriate isn't the word that captures it in its entirety. It sounds... Can't think of a word right now. I honestly don't really remember what I was thinking when I wrote the second solo. I can't retrace my steps. I somehow ended up with this solo. I was surprised how fitting this chromatic line actually ended up being. Or the one that starts at the second half of the solo. Nice chops. Thanks. I don't have the most chops. It's not a focus of mine. But I guess you do have to have a bit of chops to play the solo. Actually, I feel like I'm kind of out of shape. I haven't been practicing any guitar. Anyways, in the second solo, we get to this kind of almost random back and forth sort of line. It almost feels a bit arbitrary that it just decided to go, okay, I'll return to this note every so often, and then I'm gonna go to a lower note and alternate those two. But because I think I started the solo in this scale, it kind of just makes sense. I think starting in this scale made it feel like any note was fair game for the second solo, which is kind of how it works. And of course the riff going on at the same time as the second solo is that. Very chromatic. Of course we have the root notes of the scale, but we also have the power chord and tritone up, and then these notes are also in it. So you can basically pick whatever notes you want, I guess, if you're soloing over that riff. Oh, one other thing I should mention about the song. For the most part, it's in 3/4, right? But when we get to the breakdown of the song, it actually goes to 11/4, which, oddly enough, when I listen to the song, I feel like 11/4 is it feels natural. It doesn't feel like anything is weird about the song, but that could just be me. Like, it's a part that makes it feel like it's not really in an odd or additive time signature, even if it is. And that's kind of a crazy riff, honestly, the breakdown riff, because it's in an additive time signature and it's got syncopation in it, so maybe that part is a little bit hard to listen to. But the drums pretty much always have the snare on I don't even remember anymore. For the breakdown, I think that was one of the first parts I wrote, was actually the drum part for the breakdown. Sorry, for the whole song, one of the first parts I wrote was the drum groove of the breakdown. I'm gonna play it on the practice pad over here to the side. I wanted it to feel like a regular 4/4 groove and then just cut it short. So the snare is always on, well, the snare is on, if you think about it in terms of 4+4+3, snare is always on beat 3 of the first two loops during the breakdown. So I guess the hands, the hi-hat and the snare are kind of playing 4+4+3 in the breakdown, but the feet are playing 3+3+3+2, I want to say. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah. So you've got different versions of the same additive time signature going on the drums there. But it sounds a lot simpler than it actually is, I think. Like, I don't imagine that people would find it difficult to play that, except for because of the time signature is the hardest part about that drum groove. It's not like particularly fast or athletic, I think. Not as compared to some of the stuff that the drummers that I really like are able to play. Those guys are crazy. I don't know how they do it. I've been playing a lot of drums recently, not so much guitar. But I do feel like if I ever tried to pick up guitar again, I would actually de-rust with the song that I just wrote. I feel like it represents a standard for my own playing. Like, I have to be able to play at least as good as me. So there's that. I don't imagine that I'll be streaming for much longer. I think I'm gonna end the stream in like 5 or so minutes. I'm glad to have finally released the song. And of course I can't stop praising the work of all the people involved with the project. That includes my recording engineer, the illustrator, and the MV maker. They all put in a lot of work into this. Yeah. Maybe I should try relearning some of the parts of The King in Yellow. Because I think I forgot how to play some of it. Oh, I should probably talk about the outro as well, because that I was quite surprised with the outcome. So there's actually two guitars in the outro, right? One of them is playing this, which is an idea that's very similar to the rhythm guitar part in the first solo, except instead of going to here, like this, we go here. You do this stepwise thing downwards, and then it goes to a G power chord arpeggio, and then whatever this is. So you've got 3-5-5, 2-5-4, and then back to the power chord. But the lead guitar, which is just finished doing the solo, goes into this harmonization, I guess. I don't think it's a very common writing technique in metal to try and have like a part that's based on power chords on one guitar and then a part that's based more on like incomplete chord voicings on another guitar that's a little bit higher. But that's kind of what I was trying to do, because power chords are technically like incomplete triads, right? Because they don't have a third, they don't have a quality. So I was trying to re-add that back in with the second guitar. So if the first guitar is playing G, F sharp, F, power chords descending, I wanted to play some equivalent of that. So here's G major, or at least some of the chord tones in G major, some of the chord tones in F minor, F sharp minor. Actually, no, it's a complete triad. These are complete triads. So it goes G major, F sharp minor, F at the exact same time as the lower rhythm guitar plays that. And then it goes to this, right? And I just wanted to have something that harmonizes with that up higher. And I eventually decided on this. Not after a specific chord or whatever. I just thought those particular intervals just sounded good together. But I wasn't sure what it was going to sound like until I recorded it. And I was pretty happy with the result. We actually got something that I feel like was very powerful in the outro, because it feels like the whole frequency spectrum was filled up. There's like stuff from like 63 hertz all the way up to like 16k hertz, because there's the full mix, you've got drums, you've got bass guitar, no vocals, but you have guitar parts that fill up the rest of the mid to high end of the frequency spectrum. And I was pretty proud with how heavy it actually ended up being. I wasn't really expecting that at all. But yeah. I don't really think I have more to add about the writing of this song at the moment. So I think I'm just gonna wrap it up here. If you've stuck around until now, thank you very much. I just released a song and I've just been rambling about it for the past 45 minutes. That's what's been going on. Thanks for stopping by.